Hello and welcome to Elseworlds, a DC fan podcast. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, is Chris. How are you today,
I'm
Chris?
doing great because I just got off the phone with Barry Allen. Told me the Mavs win game one tonight, so I'm happy. But anyway, no, it's gonna be a good day talking superhero stuff. We got some good news to talk about. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got some good news. We also are going to talk my adventures with Superman today, but we did have some news that we're going to get out of the way first here. I guess let's start with the Superman news. So James Gunn has cast Beck Bennett in Superman, and I thought this was hysterical, by the way. TheWrap.com, I think a few of the other places too, said details about Bennett's role are being kept under wraps. And then James Gunn tweeted out that screenshot from Hollywood Reporter and The Wrap, and then said, "Welcome to the DCU, Steve Lombard." So now we know who
Yep.
we now know who he's playing. It lasted like maybe an hour of speculation at most, maybe 30 minutes, where we didn't know who it was, and then James Gunn came out and said. So just funny that like I don't know if he wanted to share it, and that's why like it didn't leak, and then by the reporters, and then he's like, "All right, now I'm gonna tweet this out or Instagram this out."
Yeah.
Whatever, threads, all that stuff.
It's the kind of news you could break
Um,
this way, though. I mean, it's not
yeah,
earth-shattering news. It's the sports guy at the Daily Planet, and he's such a good casting. So, like, I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, I know that guy." I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be awesome." So, I'm pleased. Saturday Night Live alum, pretty cool for me.
yeah, yeah. No, I think he's great. He does a lot of good voice work too. Not that he'll be doing that in this, I don't think, but he's done. He was in Ducktales, like the new Ducktales and all that.
They'll
So
probably have a douchey Steve Lombard voice. Like it'll probably be like his normal voice, just a little douchey.
yeah. I think I could
Yeah,
see that happening. Somebody had a screenshot of him with the facial hair too.
really.
Like somebody had a picture of him,
I
like
don't.
with the cast, with the I don't know, or maybe they took it from somewhere else of that same sort of facial hair.
I
But
didn't
if
see that,
so,
but
like
yeah, that's
that's
cool.
good.
Yeah.
I can't find it
Now
anymore,
we
so I don't
now we
know.
just need a Cat Grant. Really, we got most of the Daily Planet. We got Jimmy.
Yeah, and some of those could even be in other stuff down the line
Hmm.
too. So, um, yeah, so that's great though. I think that's a fun little casting. It's finally getting some of those super stands excited instead of angry that like there's a Mr. Terrific cast and not a Steve Lombard cast. Now they can't complain.
It's a Superman
Steve Lombard's
character.
cast, the Kents are
Yeah,
cast,
yeah.
Perry White's cast. Like, all right.
Well, I do think it's like kind of cool because people are like, "Oh, this picture looks so heavy and dark, and like there's going to be no levity in this movie." They're probably going levity with the Kents. That's what it looks like anyway. And Steve Lombard is not exactly there to be the strict, stubborn, like serious type. So I'm like, guys, there's gonna be levity in this movie. It's not. It's gonna be lighter than you think. So I excited about the casting. It's not that big of a deal, but I like it.
Yeah, this is a guy that probably gets like 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, if that. Like it might just be like
Yeah, if
a couple one-liners in like an editing room.
right. So we don't have to spend too much time on that, but have a couple little things here. We talked about it last time about the leak from, I think it was from SAG's website or WGA's website, um, or like other stuff we had heard, whatever. James Gunn came out and confirmed the Lanterns news here, saying that the DCU series is putting together a crack team of writers based on a wonderful pilot script and Bible by Chris Mundy, Tom King, and Damon Lindelof. A hearty welcome to Chris and Damon Lindelof as they join the DC Studios family. No welcome necessary for old Tom King, who has been here since its inception.
Love it. I love that he got Tom King some credit in there too. And the big thing I took out of that is Bible. That's the big thing I took out of the Batman the animated series had a Bible, rules that they had to follow to stay true to what they wanted to do. And when you have that kind of a guiding outline, I think it serves your show. So I'm very happy to hear that.
Most shows have Bibles, but that was something that I think Marvel mentioned that they were going to add again to make it more like television on their side, because like they kind of didn't have the showrunner, right? So
Mhm.
now we have a showrunner, we have Bibles. Like this is the stuff that and Bibles are not only just good for the for them to keep track of stuff, but this is also how they would pitch. So he came in, I'm guessing they came in with the pilot script, or they wrote a pilot script and wrote the Bible. Gunn looked it over and said, "This is great. This is what we're looking for. Let's do this." And they're off to the races.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this show is kind of next after Waller. So, or even before Waller, depending on when Waller is supposed to film.
Can I be honest? I'd
Uh,
love it to be before Waller. I don't really need Waller. Um,
Yeah, and we know Waller is supposed to take place after Peacemaker
right.
season
I
2,
think
so
Peacemaker
it could
season 2
be.
is going to bleed right into it. Like I feel like we have a lot in that avenue. I really just want Lanterns as soon as I can get it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. We'll see how it goes. Somebody uh, sent a message to James Gunn on Threads or Instagram. I think it was Instagram, saying, "Please wink if you have plans for Deathstroke." And Gunn sent him a wink emoji. So a lot of people think that might be for Teen Titans movie, right?
It would make sense. I mean, maybe Judas contract there. I could see it. Deathstroke, they did it so well on Titans, the show, that I'd be shocked if they just don't keep that. It also could be Batman Brave and the Bold, though. It really could be.
It could be. I hope not, but
I
it could be.
sincerely hope not as well. I hope it's Titans, but it'd be interesting to see
You
where
know
they
what?
go.
It has to be Titans. In the sense of we've always heard Gunn say that like some of these people are going to be able to put their own spin on stuff, or do their job. They're not going to make progress on stuff without scripts, all that kind of stuff. I think if it was Brave and the Bold, we haven't heard anything about a script for that recently. I feel like he can't just be like, we have plans for him and I'm going to make them use this villain. Like, I just think
Hmm.
that he's going to let Muschietti do what he does if he stays on the movie. So in my mind, I'm thinking it has to be for something that they already received a script for, maybe, or maybe he just knows sometime down the line he's appearing, right? But in my mind, if they have a script, which we know she was hired to write Teen Titan script after she wrote Supergirl, it really only feels like it would fit in one thing, right? And that's Teen Titans, unless if he is to appear in something like Waller or Peacemaker,
Mm.
right? Like technically, he could.
Hmm.
Waller would probably fit really well as
Waller
well,
would
actually.
fit very well. Actually, it would make sense. Really, in what we're going to talk about later, My Adventures of Superman, fits in very well with that. So interesting.
I think that was all of the big news. There's just been, yeah, I think that was really it from what I saw. So I think we can maybe move on to my adventures with Superman. We talked about season 1
Hmm.
last year after it wrapped up. This time we're going to talk about the first 3 episodes of the show in season 2, as it has started to release. And we'll just probably try to touch on these maybe 2 episodes at a time as we're on our bi-weekly schedule or something, and
Hmm.
see if that works. Okay, so My Adventures with Superman season 2 Started off with Valentine's Day in the first episode, More Things in Heaven and Earth, which was directed by Deanna Hugh and written by M. Willis, and it premiered May 26, 2024. As well as Adventures with My Girlfriend, directed by Kiki Manrique and Angela Ensminger, wrote it, and it also premiered May 26, 2024. And we'll also be talking about Full Metal Scientist, directed by Jen Bennett, written by Cynthia Fury, and that premiered June 2nd of 2024. Before we kind of go into what parts we really liked and kind of like the storyline stuff, what was your thoughts as we hit the ground running on season 2, less than a year from season 1?
Actually, that's a good way to put it. We hit the ground running. They didn't waste any time. They didn't really catch you back up on anything. They just went right to it. I thought it was awesome. I like Jarrell and the Fortress stuff. I thought that was really fun. I like the direction of the show. I like that Lois's dad is going to be like a thing in this. I think they hit the ground running. They did. The feel of the show feels like they know exactly what they want to do. They're in their bag. I'm confident the way they're going. I'm very interested to see how it pieces together. But there hasn't been a moment where I've stepped back and go, huh, they're not quite jiving here. So I like what they're doing. I'm excited about the show. I'm enjoying it. I just want that to continue.
Yeah, I think what we heard before, right? This was a 20 episode order that they split into 2 seasons or something. So these were produced pretty close together, which is why this was able to air, less than a year later. We don't know anything about any sort of renewal at this point, so it's just hoping that it, gets renewed. But we start off with Valentine's Day, and we have Clark having a vision about Jor-El, right? And we also get Jimmy now, who has $5 million due to his Flamebird videos.
For now.
And we keep seeing the ticker of his worth going down when he buys stuff. So I'm expecting this to be a running gag, and maybe at the end of this season, he's back to zero. Is kind of my thought here.
I can see it. Jimmy's got a lot of things, maturity isn't one of them. And I one of my favorite moments is, oh no, I forgot to record by 5. And I'm just like, yeah, could have seen that one coming.
Yeah, because it goes down pretty quick. Like in the second episode, he's down to $3.7 million. He's already spent 1.3 on stuff like private plane, right? Like, or something or a helicopter that they had to rent.
Yeah.
At one point.
You really can't blame inflation for his problems.
Yeah.
He's
but we get
being reckless.
We get Jimmy talking to Alex, who is going to become Lex, right? Or is Lex, I guess you would say. But he goes by Alex at this point. And I read something very interesting. I'm not sure if you saw this, but originally when they were making the show, they were told they could not have Lex Luthor for whatever God knows reason when it comes to WB and these stupid
rules.
You can't use these characters.
It's so dumb.
Like, we're going to confuse this Lex with any other Lex in the world. Because the same thing happened with Smallville, where they would only let them use Lois for 13 episodes. They would only let them use Lionel for 13 episodes as well. Or maybe his contract was just the same as that. But
Lionel,
I'm amazed.
Who knows Lionel Luthor?
I'm amazed.
I'm sorry.
I'm amazed that they even let them use those characters at this point. But when it comes to Lex, and I feel like if it was made nowadays, they'd be like, you can't use Lex, sorry. But yeah, so but then they had like this thing where they had this guy named Alexander, and they were like, oh, is this your Lex? And he's like, if you guys let us have Lex, this is Lex. And they were like, yeah, you can have Lex. So they kind of weaseled their way into having a Lex Luthor on this show.
Ask for forgiveness later.
Yes. And we get a meteorite thing, and Clark realizes it is the same ship as his, right? And they go to the Arctic We see Jor-El again, and this time he's speaking English, right? He had to program
The
himself,
translator.
right, from the hologram.
Yep.
Yeah, translator. And we get the usual backstory, pretty much, of Clark, Krypton, all this kind of stuff. And he reveals that Clark and Kara are the only ones that remain. They say Kara in this, right?
Yes.
Not Kara.
Right.
The kryptonite is hurting the ship, and it's got, the Brainiac system in here. And we do know Brainiac is supposed to be a bigger role in this season. And then we get Amanda Waller showing up, because she has to appear. This has to be in Amanda Waller's contract. She has to appear in every adaptation of anything from now to eternity. I'm kind of getting sick of it, because I was reading Flash the other day, and she pops up because of this Absolute Power event, I think, that's coming up. But I'm like, can I go one story without seeing Amanda Waller everywhere?
She's got her thumbs in everything, man. She doesn't mess around.
She appears in Smallville later. She's
man.
She was, I think, right? She was in the Arrowverse before they were told
she was in Arrow, and she's the most different in Arrow. Like, they cast her as like this really thin, beautiful woman, and you're just like, huh?
She was in BVS or one of those movies. She's in Suicide Squad, but she was also in which one was I'm trying to think. Angela Bassett. When did she play her? Do we remember when that was?
Oh man, it's been Viola Davis for so long.
I know.
I'm looking this up.
Oh, was that Green Lantern?
No way.
Yes, it was Green
That's
Lantern.
That's why I blocked it from my memory. That's why.
All right. So you had her even in Green Lantern. You have her as Viola Davis, right? Like, we are getting Amanda Waller. I feel like she's in constant comics now. I get it.
We have more Wallers than Superman.
Can't we take a break from the Amanda Waller stuff? Now, of course, this show has had her in there for a bit. Right. So I don't want to complain too much, but it's just like, it's getting to a point where I've seen people pointing this out as well. Like, we're kind of getting a lot of Amanda Waller and everything. I don't know why they think she's like this bankable star. I don't know.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
The go-to villain right now.
We've had a few Lex Luthors and 72 Amanda Wallers.
Close to it. Okay, so we have Amanda Waller and her team, who are in the ship as well. Superman goes to save Lois and Jimmy. He fights Waller's crew. They land in kryptonite, and this is a big thing. This kind of is what reveals to everybody in that room that this is his weakness, right? Like, Amanda Waller picks up on it. Everybody else is kind of picking up on that this is his weakness. And we see Jimmy get the kryptonite, and, he's able to get it away for a while. Jor-El helps as well, but this does make hologram Jor-El die. Yeah, and we do learn that Sam Lane is captured as well, and this is what Lois wants to go help her dad. They have this conversation while he's taking her to the Northern Lights. He agrees, and we get like a Brainiac tease at the end of the first episode. But overall, I thought the first episode was very strong. And I loved all the Jor-El stuff. I loved getting people to see what his weakness is, so that way it kind of becomes publicized a bit more, maybe, as well.
Yeah, it was a little X-Men 97 in the sense that how did they fit so much into this episode? And so cleverly done. I thought it was a very full episode, very, very good. And I really like that moment where, Clark is like, anything for you, Lois, that's the most important thing, when it's not the most important thing for him. He doesn't even like her dad.
Yeah, he's trying to tell her at the same time, right? Like, we've got to
find Kara.
find Kara, and he keeps wanting to talk about this, but he keeps getting held off by her kind of just jumping in and being like, "Whoa, I gotta we gotta help my dad," and he's Superman, so, and he's Clark, so he's like, "Yeah, of course. Lois is the love of my life. I'm gonna go help her."
Like, I actually kind of love
So,
how much he already is the love of his life. Like, he is like hook, line,
oh
sinker.
yeah, he's committed.
He's
He's
in.
locked
He's
in.
in this thing. I think he's in it more than she is, which is pretty crazy because she's pretty in.
Episode 2, we kind of go through Waller's like wake up routine, right? She has a pep talk, and then we see her go into Sam Lane's room or cell. We get a little boy who also helps, who asks for help to find his dad, and on the street, Perry introduces Jimmy to his new team. We get that cool thing, right? Clark and Lois explore the building that they are going into, which is the same one that they're going to save Sam Lane in. And they go down the same elevator, that like Waller went down in the beginning. I love this though when Clark just kind of goes in and just taps two people on their head and just like knocks them out like immediately. He just does like a short tap.
I
Because of his
appreciate that.
force,
Yeah,
they are knocked out.
we need to see more of that for Superman. Like they get the proportion of his strength.
Yeah, it's just fun little ways to do his powers.
Mhm.
He finds out the beacon that he's been looking for Kara, right, is in this building, and so is Sam Lane. So they're both needing to be in this building. Waller is interrogating Sam Lane. Lois goes in to rescue him. Sam doesn't want to be rescued by Lois. He's worried about her. He also, I think wants to get some more information from Waller. But Waller sends Task Force X to kill Sam, and Superman saves the boy's dad that was at the beginning of the episode. And we learn that the inmates are being tested on, right? And they're getting like deformed, and all these tests are done. Like I mentioned, Jimmy goes down to 3.7 million because they have to like borrow or rent a helicopter or something.
He's so
Clark
excited
gets
to
the
do it
beacon.
too. Like
Oh
he's like,
yeah,
money's no object. Like he thinks he's Jeff Bezos right now. It's like I can buy
yes, yeah.
anything.
Jimmy arrives. Superman breaks all the guns, and they all leave on Jimmy's boat. That's what they had to rent this time. There was another time they did a helicopter. They had to rent a boat this time. And Lois brings her dad, and tells him that he can stay with Jimmy and Clark.
Yeah, because they like that.
And Lex introduces himself to Amanda Waller.
Or Alex.
Alex,
And she asks him what his coffee order is, because that's the whole thing with General Lane is, I know more than just your coffee order. So the first thing she asks Lex is, "How do you like your coffee?"
Right.
That was a good way to keep that consistent.
And then episode 3, we had, a fire in the building. Superman comes in to save. He gets this weird glowing power.
Yeah, what
right?
was that?
And I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to be like Blue Superman.
That's what I thought
like
of, but I was like, "This is such a weird thing. Like, is he? I want that to be explained further in the show. I'm sure it will be."
Yeah, no, I think that's something that maybe Wikipedia calls it a super aura force field.
That one's new to me.
Yeah, new to me as well. So we'll see how this gets introduced more. I feel like he'll have to do something, or like, explain it to us a little bit.
Yeah.
We get some DC characters here though. We get Silas Stone.
Yep.
Right? And Livewire's talking to him, say, imagine what would have happened if your son was home. He's what, 9 or 10? So we find out that Victor Stone does exist, and he's 9 or 10 years old at this point.
Yeah, he's just got to be really careful, especially around cars.
Yeah, don't take a Don't become a football star,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's still time to change this, Victor.
And after that, we get a commercial and we see John Henry Irons on TV. Though they've been calling him just John Irons on here.
It annoys me, and it's so weird because like it's so weird because like almost nobody goes by their three names. Like it's very rare you have a 3-name person. Like, but to me, he's John Henry Irons. Like it's so cool to get John Irons here because I love him in Superman and Lois, and he's actually a really cool character, and you know, really important to Superman lore. So I'm excited.
It is funny though. It's like anybody that has 3 names like that. It sounds very weird to call them by 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Lee Harvey Oswald. If I just said Lee Oswald, you're like, what? That doesn't sound right. It's Lee Harvey.
Calling
Oswald, right?
Michael B. Jordan Michael Jordan just doesn't work.
Right. Well, of course, then everybody's gonna think you're talking about the basketball player.
Yeah, like you have to be in there. It's a rule. But
yeah, like there's people like that, and especially characters like that. If we all call him John Henry Irons, so just hear him called John Irons, you're like, that it does not flowing. It doesn't flow.
There's a third word problem. Like it's like it kind of balances it. It doesn't work.
Yes,
It doesn't.
It's a flow.
Yeah.
It's a certain flow on how it rolls off the tongue. John Henry Irons.
Maybe we'll get used to John Irons, but
doesn't sound as good. So that killed me every time I wrote it in my notes. Okay, we have Sam Lane watching the TV commercial, and we have this fun setup right where Jimmy has to get clothes for Clark, and he's trying to distract Sam, and he's also trying to answer Flip on the phone. Like a bunch going on for Jimmy, who's really trying to balance this new role he has
and actually do his job. But yeah, the General Lane thing was interesting. He was such a slob, and he's like, "Oh, maybe you want to turn around and turn my back for the door." That's how I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, like that's anti-military. Yeah, like
like I always think it's funny because like we do this thing like at work, like we have this bit like one of my coworkers. It's like, does Tony the Tiger always talk like that? Like we were learning cereal one day, it was a thing. So does Tony the Tiger really talk like that? Like he's always in military mode. Like it's like being the equivalent of Tony the Tiger just walking down the street and saying, "Wonderful, great," you know. I don't know.
Right.
Like mundane
like
things.
Always happy.
Yeah.
Or if he's always like, great.
Every 5 seconds. Great.
Yeah. We have a fun moment here too with Vicky Vale and Lois, right? Vicky Vale we met in season 1. She remembers Lois. They're at a press conference for Ameritech, as they pronounce it. And that's a company that John Irons is a part of. And Vicky and Lois talk, and she says she's been watching her career. And but Vicky's still not willing to let Lois encroach on exclusivity, right? Vicky has the exclusive. She's the one that's able to get in. Lois decides to sneak in, and she runs into Vicky. And they end up getting caught by security, and they have to escape. Vicky goes out one way, and then, of course, Lois jumped on the trash can and the trash truck and beats her out of there, actually. And Vicky is impressed. And
Lois Lane is a badass, ladies and gentlemen. And she's crazy. I love how crazy she is.
Yes.
It's such a good twist on it because she's always like so rational. Like this, she's just like, she's got a little Harley Quinn in her. She's crazy.
Yeah. Superman and Jimmy find John Irons first, right? And he tells them about the Metallos, which are originally his steel suit, but they slimmed it down. They're trying to mass produce these. It's creating issues. And that's part of what he's kind of like trying to whistleblow about. He ends up getting fired from Amertech. Then we get Lois just climbing in through the window. And everybody's like, what is she doing here? While Livewire comes in, and so does Vicky Vale pops in. She's tracked down John Irons now as well. And Livewire comes in and takes out the evidence. John Henry Irons at some point is going to get his suit and team up with Superman. We get Superman glowing again, right? And at the end here, we get Jimmy and Irons talking about leadership, which I thought was a really fun conversation of these two characters. As Jimmy's kind of down on, he's really struggling to lead his team. They keep wanting to do things he doesn't want them to do. We kind of saw that in the first two episodes. Second episode, he gets introduced to the team that he's supposed to be leading, and he's having problems with that. And John Henry Irons helps him out with that, while Lois gets a job offer from Vicky Vale. And Clark still isn't able to tell her yet about the Kara stuff. And he says they'll talk later. And then that leaves her looking down at the business card. Does she take the job? Does she call about the job? What do we think's going to happen here with Lois Lane, who could get a promotion by switching over to the Gotham Gazette?
I think she's going to turn it down and stay in Metropolis, and then Clark is going to feel guilty about it. That's what I think is going to happen there. But I think she's going to tell him in one of her big emotional speeches where she just gets going and she can't stop. Which I love that Lois. Like that's just so fun. This Lois is so fun. But yeah, I think she'll make Clark feel guilty about it. Then she'll feel bad that she made Clark feel guilty about it because she didn't really mean to.
I'm really thinking maybe it's going to go a little differently. I'm thinking maybe she's going to think about it for a while, and then I feel like this conversation is going to keep getting dodged for a bit, and she's going to think that Clark maybe isn't as present with what he's doing all the time, so they can't have that time together. And I'm thinking she might want to take the job, and she'll have to tell him she's taken the job, and then he'll have to try to prove to her that she shouldn't take the job, that he is here for her, and that this is what he's been going through, this Kara stuff, and finding somebody else that's like him. And maybe then she'll be like, oh, yeah, I will stay here. And they'll kind of do that within the next, 3 episodes or something.
That's an interesting way to go about it. Yours is like really like thought out, and mine's just like got instinct.
Lex takes over Amertech, and even the suit that John Henry Irons has, right? Like he's in the office with the suit, and he's like, hey, actually all of this is mine, and you're getting escorted out of here. And the reveal that it's Lex, at first I thought it was going to be Waller, so I was shocked by this just because I didn't think Lex was coming up all that quickly, but he is getting there, huh?
Yeah, Lex is...
He's already got Lex score.
Well, you can see he's got a bit of a smile, and it just goes a little bit more and more. His little smirk. He's got a little Lex smirk. That's kind of what I call that. But it's interesting. I thought it was interesting that he was brave enough to tell a guy in a suit, like John Henry Irons suit, by the way, you're getting escorted out of the building, and that suit's mine. That takes a little courage.
Yeah, because he could shut you down, Lex.
Like problem solved. Problem solved. Up, what, Lex?
Right. And that was pretty much the first 3 episodes here. So yeah, I think so far I'm really enjoying it. I think that it's good to have this show back on. I remember when I watched the first 2 episodes last week or whenever it was, I was just like, oh yeah, I missed having the show. I had to kind of refresh myself a bit because even though it was only in September that we talked about it, I felt like I'd already kind of forgotten some of the stuff that had gone on. And the 3rd episode, I actually just watched it today. So I was kind of very fresh on that one. I enjoyed that one a lot too because I really love the Vicky and Lois
Mm-hmm.
team up and all that great stuff. Getting to see Silas Stone and John Henry Irons in this universe was pretty cool. I know there was some guy complaining about it being Silas Stone and not like a Superman character. Again, the
Oh
super
my
stands can't
god!
stop.
Is
These little nods are fun for me. Like, I don't know.
I was with you. I was with you. I was like, I said, oh, I get Silas Stone and John Henry Irons in the same episode. That's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
They're
yeah. I think
characters
you.
we like.
Yeah, I remember you tweeted it like what or sent it to me in a DM when you were watching
Yeah.
it, and I was like, I hadn't watched it yet, so I was like, oh, okay, I know they're in there. And then I saw the other guy complaining about it, and I was like, oh my god, let's.
We're not
Look,
allowed to have fun, Jordan. You
it's
know
fine.
that.
They wanted it to be Dr. Hamilton, which I understand, but maybe Dr. Hamilton's coming, and they didn't want to use him up on this because Silas was barely in this.
Like, honestly, it was a throwaway character they gave not a, all of a sudden just by naming him Silas Stone. He's not a throwaway character at that point. He can come back
Right,
and
right.
do something, you know? It's so stupid. People need to stop complaining about every little thing.
Anything else about this show? So we have 2 more episodes coming up on the 9th and the 16th. We have all the way up to the 30th. Do they have episode titles? I believe this should be another 10 episode season, but I'm not 100% on that. Hoping it gets renewed. There is a comic book mini series that's coming with this as well now too.
Yeah, I saw an alert of that on
It's
my
releasing
phone.
this month.
Cool.
Apparently, it's a bridge between season 1 and season 2, and it's written by the head writer of the show, Josie Campbell.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah,
I'll check that out.
I'll probably wait for it to come on the app.
Yeah, I probably won't. Yeah, I'll probably do the same thing. Like, I probably won't rush to it, but I'll check it out.
Yeah. Oh, something fun I was thinking about. I meant to bring this up on our recorded Smallville update, but I'm thinking like when we're done season 10, maybe we should talk some of the season 11 comics.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Because they're on the app.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That sounds a lot of fun. And I also I'm very interested to do my top 10 after season 10, my top 10 episodes. That could be
Oh yeah, I meant to ask you for season 7.
That's
a little peek behind the curtain. I meant to ask you for the
there's just more for later,
so
that's keep them wanting.
So
and we're gonna release them at such a random point that these people are gonna forget that.
Yes, yeah.
They're gonna forget we left it out there. Keep them wanting a little more.
Yes. But yeah, so those are coming. Our seasons 5, 6, and 7 Smallville updates are recorded. I have to edit them. I think I already edited 2 of them.
Didn't you already get the 5 up? Season 5, I think you got up already.
Did I? I don't think so.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. No, you didn't.
I'll check.
You didn't. I don't think you.
I did.
No.
Okay.
I just remember we did it, and it's.
Yeah, it's confusing when you've done it and when you haven't done it. I have them edited, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm gonna schedule them. The season 5 one will probably drop this month for the listeners here.
Nice.
So you'll know that sometime this month, and then I was trying to hold off the other ones for maybe my paternity leave, but like if you finish season 8 and we record another one before then, I can reevaluate the schedule.
So basically,
so
Chris,
really...
get to Smallville. Stop watching The Acolyte. Get back to Smallville.
But yeah, so that's coming. Our Acolyte coverage will be coming over on Pod Awakens. Our Marvel podcast. We just did Ultimate Spider-Man issue 5, right? Like last week.
Yeah, it was fun.
So that's up there. Deadpool Wolverine coverage is going to be coming. We got a lot going on. Comic-Con stuff is going to be coming. Now, James Gunn is not going to Comic-Con, he said, because he's filming. but maybe they still have an appearance there. I would just temper any sort of expectations of seeing any footage of Superman.
Yep.
I just think it's too early. I've seen someone be like, "Oh, we should get a teaser." I'm like, I don't know about that. He's still filming right now. There's no way that teaser is getting turned
We're
around.
gonna get another picture before we get that. Well,
I think so too.
I think we'll get a picture that everybody wants. Then everyone will complain that it's just what we wanted, and then
Yeah, he couldn't surprise us. What is this?
So he's being too responsive to the fans. He's giving in to the fans too much.
He needs to log offline, bro.
Like, this is one of my takes that drives me crazy when people are like, he needs to shut up. I'm like, no, he doesn't. First off, we really are hurt by him shutting up. Like, we need him to continue this. It's keeping the show alive. Let's be honest. Secondly, he can say whatever he wants. It doesn't hurt anything. And you know, it's his game to play. I just like, oh, he needs to shut up. Why? Because Kevin Feige doesn't say a bunch of stuff. Who cares? Let him talk.
Yeah, it's like this guy's probably doing it when he's like on his like 15-minute break from or lunch break when they're filming, and he's probably like, oh, let me check my threads.
He's eating a ham sandwich.
Oh yeah,
and saying, oh yeah, it's.
He's in the bathroom. He's like, let me answer some of these messages. It doesn't take like a bunch. It's not like eating. It's not like he's filming a scene like, God, I can't wait to get on Threads later and debunk some stuff. Like, it's not on his mind.
And it's also not like it's his full-time job. It's like he's not the senior social media editor for a company.
Right.
He's just like, anyone who gets upset about this, how many times do you randomly go to Twitter and just post something during the day? That's how many times he does it too. It's the same thing.
Right.
His tweets and threads and posts just actually matter to a lot of people.
Yeah, I wish I kind of had that traction.
I'm glad I don't. My head would get big and I'd say something stupid, and then Disney. I wouldn't have a Disney to hire me back. Oh.
Alrighty, well, we'll wrap it up here. We'll keep our ears to the ground for any sort of big news that we'll have to address. But this episode was recorded on June 6th. It's probably going to be up on June 7th. So if something happened between the time I press stop recording and I put the episode out, too bad. You're not hearing about it for another 2 weeks.
And that's how it happens. It's inevitable. Now that you said that, it will happen the second we log off. Not even the second we stop recording. The second we say bye, log off, go about our day.
Yep.
But
yeah, so you can reach us at elseworldsdcfan on all of our social medias, elseworldsdcfan@gmail.com for long form emails. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or you can like and subscribe to us here on the YouTube channel. I want to just thank everybody for watching and listening along with us, and we'll catch you next time here on Elseworlds.